Hello everybody, I'm Chef Almir Fonseca from the Culinary Institute of America Greystone campus, and today we're going to do infused oils. It's freshly infused flavored oils, and we're going to be using canola oil. And the choice of canola oil is because it's neutral in flavor, so I can infuse all sorts of different flavor profiles and take to any direction of any cookery or recipe. So I have three that we're going to be doing today. One is a roasted beets and tarragon infused oil. The other one is going to be a fresh vanilla bean and lemon zest oil. And then the last one is going to be a basil and lemon oil. So we're going to be started out by roasting my beets. So what I did over here, I roast my beets by flavoring it with a little bit of apple cider vinegar and canola oil, salt and pepper, roast for about an hour until it's nice and tender. I peeled. So the way I like to peel, I usually take a towel and a peel by holding like that. Paper towel works really good. This towel works really good. And basically what you're going to end up with something that looks like this, okay? Ready to be used. In this case, what I'm going to do, I'm going to hold on over here, and then from here, I'm going to go into the blender with some fresh tarragon, lemon zest, salt, and pepper, okay? The next oil we're going to do, going to be a vanilla beans. I have about 1.5 cups of canola oil over here. I have a fresh vanilla bean, which I'm going to split in half. And what happens is, once you split the vanilla bean in half, you're going to have to scrape the pod. This is a little pod that have millions and millions of little vanilla beans over here. You see this little, it's very moist, very fragrant, very flavorful. So what we need to do over here is add to the oil. There's a couple things that I will tell you when you do a freshly infused oils, and you need to bring the oil to a certain temperature, and the reason is we'll better captivate and withdraw some of the natural flavors from whatever you're using, whether going to be herbs, whether, in this case, going to be vanilla beans, and on and so forth. So I have my vanilla bean over here. I have fresh lemon, and I'm going to freshly infused with lemon zest. I do not want to bring this oil to a boil. This is a very important step, and it's a very important detail that you need to remember. You do not want to bring the oil to a boil because you're going to fry the herbs and the color going to change. So what I need to do is bring this just to about 140 degrees with just a gentle simmer with some salt and pepper, okay? So the next oil that I'm going to do is going to be the basil. I have some fresh basil over here. It's important things that when you do a freshly infused oil with basil, that you utilize the leaves mostly, and you can utilize some of the small stems. You don't want the big stems. The big stems are going to make the oil a little bit bitter, and you don't want that. But the small stems close to the flower, that's okay. Okay? A very important thing is I'm going to extract a lot of flavor from the basil, but I will not be able to extract a lot of color. So I'm going to utilize spinach. And spinach is an interesting greens that I can use this for. Is I can get a lot of chlorophyll on this oil. I can get a lot of color, but will not affect the flavor of the basil a lot. So I'm going to still get a lot of basil flavor, and I'm going to get bright green oil with the help of spinach. But I will have to blanch the herbs. This is a very important thing. If I take just the basil and put in the blender with cold oil, it will achieve something that you can use right now. If you're going to cook later, and if you're going to perhaps even save your oil for a couple days later for use with a different process or a different recipe, you're going to have to bring the oil to a warm temperature, as I mentioned. So here I have plenty basil, and I have a boiling water over here. Just simply gonna lightly salt this water. I'm going to put my basil leaves as well as my spinach leaves. So right here, I have 2 of my oils already going, okay? So I have my vanilla bean oil, and I have my basil oil over here. In many instances, when you blanch herbs, you're going to get out of here, you're going to go through a process that we call shocking, which is you're going to get out of here, you're going to go straight into an ice bath. I'm not doing that, and the reason is I want to keep the herb warm because that herb going to provide just enough heat to bring my oil to 140 degrees during the pureeing process. So this is going to straight out, come out over here, and I'm going to get my tray with a little towel just to drain some of the water and to going to come in. So you can see bright colors over here. So we have a lot of colors that instantly happen when this herb begins to cook. So one good thing that happened, and as you know, is by blanching, you withdrawing some of the water that is in the herb, which later may turn your oil, bad or rancid by the cooking process, as well as allow some great color to come out. So you're gonna see some really beautiful bright oil over here. We're just gonna drain a little bit. I'm going to shut this heat. All right. This vanilla bean oil is just now start to bloom. And you can see right here, now I have some beautiful vanilla flowing around. I have my lemon. I have just a nice little gentle oil. And I'm going to be resting and I'm going to steep it. The oil reached a 140 degrees. Now I can just allow it to rest and I can go to the next process, okay? So I have my herb over here. I have my blender. Little lemon zest for little flavor, little acid. Okay. Little bit lemon juice. So right here I have my herb, I have lemon juice, lemon zest, and you're going to go into salt and pepper, and then my canola oil, and I'm gonna have a beautifully freshly infused oil, and canola will be a perfect choice for this. Again, you don't want a lot of oil because you really what you're trying to withdraw here is the flavors of the herbs. So this is really, we're gonna work out very well, okay? I'm going to start it out very low. This oil is a great component on all the cookery. We can utilize as your grilled fish, and then just a little bit of lemon basil oil. You can utilize for your salad dressing. You can utilize for all sorts of things. I tend to like, a little piece of cheese with a little infused oil. That would work very well. So there is a lot of ways that we can drive this. And again, because canola being a neutral oil, all the flavors that you choose will show on the oil rather than other heavy flavor oils that will fight against what you're trying to accomplish here. So I'm going to let it rest here a little bit, and I'm going to prep my next oil, which my next oil would be my beets. And I'm going to utilize a tray because I don't want my cutting boards to be all red for my beets. And I'm going to take my roasted beets. So this is the beginning of my beet oil. Herbs that I'm going to be using today going to be fresh tarragon. Okay, but I can just break down just a little bit so it doesn't have any large stems that will not purify as well as I wish. Okay. Just a little bit, okay? So I'm going to get my chinois, and I'm going to pass my basil oil. And again, this over here can be all sorts of things. Can be like flatbreads, can be, a lobster dressing, can be anything over here. But the main thing that you see is how simple it is. You get something that is very, very good, very user-friendly, like canola oil, neutral in flavor, and then you pick and choose the herbs that you like to accommodate to your recipe. So this we chose lemon basil because we're doing a nice dish later on. We're going to be a pasta dish that we're going to be utilizing some shrimp, okay? So we're going to take this out. And I'm going to start with my beet oil. I'm going to add my fresh tarragon, which is right here, a little bit lemon zest, and then a little salt and pepper. I'm using freshly cracked black pepper, works pretty good. And adding my canola oil. And again, the canola oil being neutral will allow me to really taste the beets as is. The oil is basically going to allow me to purify the beets and break down the beets into this, all the natural flavors over here, the natural sugars and the sea salt and the cracked black pepper, beautiful tarragon over here, and then you're going to end up with something that is really, really gorgeous. Not only tastes very, very delicious, but it looks really pretty in the plate. So you're going to have a great component over here, okay? Okay, another thing that I want you to remember, depends on the oil that you are doing, there are differences in textures. So you're going to notice that the oil that I infuse with vanilla bean is just a natural canola oil texture. The one that I introduce the herbs to that, going to be a little bit thicker for obvious reason. Have the natural oils of the herbs, have the body of the herbs that has been purified. The other thing that's going to be even farther in the texture profile, going to be the beets. So you're going to get a lot of pulp over here, and you're going to have this gorgeous texture. Look at the color. You're going to ask me, chef, what should I do with the pulp? The pulp, you can keep it. You can actually get the pulp. Once you strain the oil, you can add on a sauté pan, sauté, and add to a dish, okay? So I'm going to strain it. You like this. Look at the color of this thing. Just gorgeous. Okay. And that is my second oil, and I'm going to place over here so we can actually start to visualize the color profile of the oils. Now we're going to get my last oil, which is my vanilla bean. One of the dishes that I love to use this freshly infused vanilla and lemon oil is for a risotto that we do with using lobster. And I think you're going to find that is a great recipe, and I hope that you're going to try it. So let me strain this very nicely. Okay. Okay, now I have my vanilla and lemon oil. Okay, and here we are. We have our freshly infused canola oils, and we have our roasted beets and tarragon. We have our basil and lemon, and we have our vanilla bean. So you can see on this dish over here, beautiful colors, a great contrast not only in colors but in texture. And right now, this is perfect to utilize now. However, you can keep up to 2 days in the refrigerator. As long as you keep refrigerated canola oil, that's another thing that we will allow you to do. We will not solidify in the refrigerator, so you'll be able to utilize later on. Just bring it down to room temperature before service, and you'll be able to utilize that on your recipes. Enjoy!